Still writing API tests line by line? Let me show you how to test APIs 10x faster using Playwright MCP Server plus GitHub Copilot inside VS Code. This is complete step-by-step guide. Even if you are beginner, you will be testing APIs effortlessly just by giving natural language prompts. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Wish Infinite. Let's supercharge your API testing in VS Code starting now. And before moving further, I would like to inform you that you can now support my YouTube channel, and for that you can go to my channel Wish Infinite and then click onto this join button. Here you can select the desired option to become a channel member. You can unlock exclusive perks while helping the channel grow. Your support means a lot. And a big thank you to everyone who has taken channel membership. As a token of appreciation, members can see their YouTube profile picture featured randomly on the channel homepage here. Also, you can access this complete automation using AI and MCP servers playlists under Playlists tab. Feel free to save this playlist for quick access in your YouTube playlist section by clicking onto this save button. Now let's continue with our current topic. So here first question is that what is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. API acts as intermediary between two systems and allow them to exchange data and functionality. About API testing, I have already discussed in depth into my Playwright testing related video. So if you are very new to the API testing and if you are not aware what are all the terms which are used into the API testing, so for that I have already created one separate video with in-depth knowledge about API testing with my Playwright tutorials, where I have explained everything from the basic, that what is an API, what are different components of API like base URL, resource, path parameter, query parameter, what is endpoint, what is header, body, HTTP methods, and different status codes. I will provide link of this video into the description, or you can click onto this I button at top right corner to access this particular video. And if you are already aware about the API testing, so you must have already done the API testing using the Postman tool and also using automation tools like Selenium, Playwright, and Cypress. But now here we are going to perform API testing using Playwright MCP Server. But now there is one catch. On the date I am recording this particular video, there is no API testing functionality available in official Playwright MCP Server. In future, there may be the case that they would be including API testing functionality, but for now, we cannot perform API testing using official Playwright MCP Server. So now the big question is that how we can perform API testing using MCP Server right now. And for that, there is one solution. So to perform the API testing using the MCP Server, we would be using one MCP Server. Let me open its link. So this is the Playwright MCP Server developed by ExecuteAutomation and the open source community. And this Playwright MCP Server would be able to perform functional testing, which we were doing with the help of official Playwright MCP Server. And in addition to that, it would also be able to do the API testing. I will provide link of this ExecuteAutomation Playwright MCP Server GitHub profile under the description. You can visit this GitHub profile. Now first we will have to install this Playwright MCP Server into our VS Code. So here if you will scroll down, you would be able to see this installation in VS Code option. Either you can use this install server VS Code button, or you can use this command to install the Playwright MCP Server, or manually also you can configure this particular Playwright MCP Server. First let me open VS Code here. Now at this particular point, I am already considering that you have all the prerequisites to perform automation using Playwright MCP Server. About all the prerequisites, how to install the Playwright MCP Server, I have already discussed in very much detail into the previous videos of this particular playlist. If you have not watched those videos, I would recommend you to watch those videos. I will provide link of those videos into the description, or you can click onto this I button at top right corner to access those videos. So to get these Copilot extension, we can click onto this extension section, and here you would be able to see this GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot chat, which are already installed for me. And in one of my previous video, we saw that how we can install the Playwright server and how it will appear here under the extension section. So this MCP Server Playwright is appearing because we have already configured official Playwright MCP Server into our VS Code. But now we want to configure this ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP Server. And as I told, we can directly click onto this install button, or we can use this command to install this Playwright MCP server. But for now, I would be going for this manual approach. I will tell you why I'm using this manual approach. Let me go back to the VS Code, and here to configure MCP server manually, let me open this mcp.json file. So if you are using old VS Code version, so in that case, you would be doing these configurations into settings.json file. But for now, we are using this new VS Code. So in that case, we would be using mcp.json file to configure Playwright MCP server or any other MCP server. Let me open this mcp.json file. For that, let me click onto this tools. Let's scroll down, and here we have this MCP server Playwright is already installed. Let's click onto this configure global in code. And see here, this official Playwright MCP server is already installed. And as I told, I would be doing manual configuration for this ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP server. Why? Because if I will directly use the command, or if I will directly click onto this install server VS Code button, so it will replace my official Playwright MCP server from here. So that's why I'm not using direct installation technique and going for the manual configuration of this new Playwright MCP server. Why it will replace? Because it is having this same key, right? Playwright. And here also, if you will have a look, we have this same key name, which is Playwright. But manually, we can change this key name. So that's why I'm going for the manual approach. Now to configure this ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP server, we can copy these configurations. So we can copy this Playwright as the key, and its value is this particular object. Let's go back to our VS Code. And here what we need to do, we have this particular object, right? Where servers is the key and its value is again an object. And inside this object, we need to specify all those servers which we want to configure. So currently this official Playwright MCP server is already configured here, for which we are having this Playwright as the key and its value is this object. So to configure second Playwright MCP server, we can provide comma here, hit enter, and now we can provide ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP server configuration. Let me paste it. And here, if you will notice, we are able to see these error. Why? Because we are having two keys with the same name. So what I will do, I will change this key name to Playwright EA. You can give any meaningful name. For now, I am giving this EA is for ExecuteAutomation, right? So we are having this key. Now the error is gone. After colon, we are having this object where command is npx like the previous one and argument is different. So for this official Playwright MCP server, we were having this args as Playwright/MCP@latest. But for this ExecuteAutomation Playwright MCP server, we would be having args as the key and its value would be this @ExecuteAutomation/Playwright-MCP-server. And that's it. Our new Playwright MCP server by ExecuteAutomation is now configured. See at the left hand side, if you will notice, we are able to see two MCP servers. One is this Playwright, right? The same key name will appear here. And the second one is this Playwright EA. See, the same name is also appearing here. And if you will notice, with this official Playwright MCP server, we are having only 24 tools. But with this ExecuteAutomation Playwright MCP server, we are having 32 tools. You can click onto this tools option inside this Copilot to get more details about all these tools. So these are the tools related to the official Playwright MCP server. Again, scroll down and you would be able to see this MCP server as Playwright EA. The same key name which we have given is appearing here. And inside it, we are having different tools, right? So here some tools would be very similar to the official Playwright MCP server's tools. But here, if you will go in more detail, you would be able to see tools related to the API testing. Like this one, Playwright Get, to perform HTTP GET request. Similarly, we will be having different API calls tools. Like this Playwright Patch, Playwright Post, Playwright Put, right? All these are the API calls which we can perform into the Playwright also. Similarly, we would also be having this delete call to perform an HTTP delete request. But here into this official Playwright MCP server, you would not be able to see tools related to the API testing for now. In future, it may be coming here, but for now, we will not be able to perform API testing using official Playwright MCP server. You can have a look all of these tools in more details. For now, I will focus onto the API testing using Playwright MCP Server. Let me format this code. And now we are ready to perform API testing using Playwright MCP Server with GitHub Copilot in VS Code. So when I am saying the API testing, which means we would be able to perform all these calls like post, get, put, delete, patch, right? All the different API calls we would be able to perform using this ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP Server. Here I've put more details for you that what is HTTP methods. So HTTP methods are used to define the actions or operations that can be performed onto the resources. So with the help of HTTP methods, basically we can perform CRUD operation. CRUD means create, read, update and delete. So using the post method, we can perform the create operation. Using this get method, we can perform the read operation. Using put, we can perform the update operation, and using delete, we can perform the delete operation. And as I told, if you want to get more details about it, you can watch my previous video related to the API testing. Now let's proceed further. Now for this particular video, we would be using this fakerestapi.azurewebsites.net for that demo purpose. And here, if you will scroll down, you would be able to see different API calls which we can perform. For now, we would be performing basic get, post, put and delete calls. So let's proceed further with the get call. So this is Swagger document. Previously also in my API testing related video, I told you that for the API testing, we would be getting proper documentation. It can be in the form of normal document, or you would also be getting this Swagger document. Actually, in this Swagger document, we get all the details in one place, and here manually also we can perform API calls. So let me first click onto this get for this activities section. So it will get expanded, and here we can click onto this try it out. With the help of this, we would be able to try this particular get call. This API /v1/activities are path params, right? Let me click onto the execute. So this particular API call will get performed. And see, here we have got this curl command also. You can also use this curl command directly into the Postman tool. And here we have this request URL. So this is our base URL. Then we have these path params. And here we are performing this get call. See, into the curl command, this get is mentioned. And as we clicked onto this execute here, into this Swagger document, we have got this particular response. See, this particular API is to check the activities. It is under activities section, right? You can use any section for the demo purpose. I'm just using this activities. And see, here we have this array as the response, and inside it, it is having different objects. Each object is having this ID, title, due date, and its completed status. And like this, we are having multiple activities into the response. This is response header. That also we are able to see here. And this is the status code which we have got. Now let's perform this API call using Playwright MCP Server. For that, I'll have to provide this complete request URL. Now let's go to VS Code. And here, if your Copilot is not open, click onto this icon and you would be able to see this Copilot. Now here we can provide the prompt. But before that, let me start this Playwright MCP Server. And this time I would be starting this Playwright EA MCP Server, which we just configured. Either you can click onto this start button into this mcp.json, but here with this new VS Code, we can simply go to this manage button and then click onto this start server option. Now here let's provide the prompt into the Copilot. So here I will provide the prompt like this: perform that API call for the request URL, and then we can provide the request URL which we copied from this Swagger document, this one. And here I will also add that we need to verify that we want to get the status code as 200. Let me add that and verify that we are getting status code as 200. Here I am also mentioning that also log get call response. And here onto the safer side, I will mention that use this Playwright EA MCP Server. So use Playwright EA MCP Server perform this API call. That's it. And now we can hit enter, or we can click onto this send button. And here, as previously also I told you, we need to select agent here, and we can select any available model here. Now let's click onto this send, and see it is showing this tool name, which is Playwright Get, from this particular MCP server. And here it is performing this HTTP GET request. Here we are able to see this URL as the key, and its value is this request URL which we have provided. Now we can click onto the continue, or you can select these options like allow in this session, in this workspace, or always allow. If you are familiar with your website, you can click onto this always allow. For now, I will click onto this allow in this session. See, now we have got this status code as 200. This particular run got passed. And here I have mentioned that I want to see the response also, but it has not yet generated. Let me again give this proper instruction. Also generate get call response body. That's it. For now, I am providing this only. And see, it gave us the complete body, which we were able to see into this Swagger document. Here with your prompt, you can also provide this complete body and ask Copilot to validate that we are getting the same response or not, right? For the testing purpose. For now, I'm just showing you that you can perform the API calls. You can do the different verification, like what is the status code, what is the body, right? So here you can be creative with your prompts, right? For now, I've just provided the prompt into very basic language. You can be more creative so that you can get the correct response. So this is our get call. Now let's perform one more get call. So for now, this get call was fetching all the data, but now we will fetch one single data. For that, we are having this get call. See, here we need to provide the ID, and for that particular ID, I should be able to get the response. So let me provide this 24 as the ID, right? And it should show me this particular response. Let's provide it. So go to this get, click on this try it out. Here provide the ID. You will get the execute button once you click onto that try it out button. Now click onto the execute. And see, we have got this response for this single ID, where the status code is again 200, and we have this particular header. Now let's perform this API call. And for this one, I will use this curl command just to show you, right, that we can directly use this curl command also to provide the prompt. If you want to go with this traditional way, you can use this request URL and can give the same prompt which I have given previously. Let me copy this prompt into the document also, so that you can directly use these prompts for your practice purpose. Let me correct this typo error. And here let me change this particular part where we asked it to log the response body, because it was not able to generate. We had to give this particular prompt, right? So let me copy it here only. And now let's provide the second prompt to get the details related to the specific ID. And as I told, here I'm using this curl command. So let's go to VS Code. Let me open this new chat so that it would be easy for you to understand. And AI will also not mix and match our prompts, right? And here I will simply give that perform API call for the curl command and paste your curl command. And here again we can mention that verify that we are getting the status code as 200. Also generate get call response body. Use Playwright MCP Server to perform this API call, right? So I'm keeping this particular section common. Let's paste it here. And now hit enter or click onto this send button. And this time it is directly performing this API call. Why? Because we have already clicked onto the continue for this session. And see, we have got the status code as 200. Okay. And we have got this particular response. Here, let me show you one negative scenario. Let's paste the same prompt, but here I will tell to verify that the status code is 400. And now again click onto the send. So again it is performing API call, but here you would be able to see that it is specifically mentioning that it returned the status code as 200, and not 400. Similarly, you can also validate the body to match it with a specific body. And that I'm leaving up to you, right? To be more creative, to perform more verification, and to perform different API calls. Now let me copy this particular prompt into the document. And it is not necessary that you will have to write the prompt into the same manner. You can be more creative by providing more detailed information with the proper sentences, right? So that I'm leaving up to you that how you want to give your prompt here. Let me format it. Now let's perform the post call. Here into the document, you would be able to see we are having this post call. Click here, click onto this try it out. These are all the Swagger document functionality, right? And here with the post call, we need to pass the body, right? These are the path params, right? And this is the body which we are passing. So here, let me give the ID as different number, as 999. I will give here as the ID. Here title I will give as MCP Server Learning. And here due date I will keep the same. And completed I will mark as true, right? You can give any values here. And then let's click onto the execute. And see, we are able to get the response with the status code as 200. And into the response body, the same body which we have sent with the request is appearing here. Now let's perform this post call. And as I told, you can directly use this curl command, or you can provide all these details separately. Like we need to provide this base URL with the request body, and then it should be able to perform this particular API call. In the curl command, specifically all the things are mentioned directly. Like here we want to perform the post call. This is the base URL, right? What is the header also, which is it is mentioned here, right? And this is the body. For now, I will use that traditional way to provide all these details separately. Let me copy this first prompt and here I will edit it. Let's go to VS Code. Let's open new chat window. Provide your prompt. So here perform post API call for the request URL, and here we need to provide this request URL. I think it is already there, right? Let me again replace it just to avoid any confusion. And here we need to pass the request body. So I will pass this ID as 99 in this case. Let's copy it. And here after this perform post API call for this URL. Here I will give that here we can use below request body. And then provide the body here. And here I will keep it like this, that verify that we are getting status code as 200. And here on place of this, what I will do, I will write also validate that response body is matching with below request body. Hit shift enter so that we can provide the body. And let me again copy this one. But this time I will specifically give wrong detail here. I'm giving ID as 992 just to see that it is able to verify this or not. At the end, we are providing this command line that use this Playwright EA MCP server to perform this API call. Although this GitHub Copilot will automatically be able to detect that which MCP server it need to use, but just to avoid any confusion, right? Sometimes it can get confused and it may try to use this Playwright MCP server. So that's why I am providing this particular line here. Let's click onto the send. And here again, it is asking us for the permission. Why? Because this time it is using this Playwright post tool, right? And for that, we have not given any permission. We have just given permission for the get call. Again, we can see the MCP server details, what it is trying to do. Here we can see the URL, right? With the value as the body which we have passed, right? Now, let me click onto this allow in this session. And see, we have got the response. Where the response was successful, status code was 200, and the response body matches the request body provided with ID 99. And here specifically we have given this wrong ID, so because of that it is giving us this message that if you need to validate with this different ID such as 992, please clarify, because the response got generated with the same ID as sent in the request. And as I told, you can be more creative while giving these prompts so that you can get even more accurate response. Let me copy this prompt and let's paste it here into the document. I'm providing all these prompts just for your reference purpose, right? You can do the practice also using these prompts. Here again, this typo error is there Because of these typo errors also, sometimes AI can get confused and may not generate the proper response. So try to provide the prompt without any typo error. Although the AI is that smart that it would be able to correct your typo error, but try to avoid it, right? Or you can do the vice versa. You can first write the prompt here and then copy, paste it there, right? Now we have performed the post call also. Now let's perform the delete call. So here into this document, we have this delete call also available. You can use any of the delete call. For now, I will use this delete call under the activities only. So click here and let's try to delete activities with ID 1. Click onto this try it out. You can give any valid ID here. This one is the fake REST API, right? But in your project, there would be proper APIs with different details. So accordingly, you can provide those details here. So let's provide ID as 1 and click onto the execute. And see, we have got the status code as 200. And for this, we have not received any response body. Only we have got this response header. And now let's provide this prompt. Again, I will copy this request URL. Here this ID1 is passed as path param only, right? Let's create the prompt. This time I will create the prompt into this document first. So prompt 4. Here I will give the prompt as perform delete API call for request URL. And then we can paste the request URL. And here again, purposefully, I will validate the wrong details, right? And validate, let me format it so that you would be able to see it properly. Okay. And validate that response status code is 201. Here, I am trying to validate this wrong detail, right? We are going to get the status code as 200. And let me copy this line that use Playwright MCP Server to perform this API call. Now let's copy this prompt and let's go to VS Code. Here you can open the new chat. For now, I will use this same chat only and now hit enter. And again, it is asking for the permission because we have not given any permission for the delete call. If you will perform any other call like patch call, put call, again, it will ask for the permission, right? For now, I will allow in this session and see this API call was successful. But our validation got failed because purposefully we have given this wrong validation that we want to check that 201 is the status code. But actually we are getting this 200 OK as the status code. And like this, we can perform any of the API call. And it is not necessary that you'll have to provide all these prompts one by one. You can save all these prompts into one file and then can use that particular file to perform all these API calls using these prompts. So in the same way, we have used that feature files, right? Into the video where we saw that we can use this BDD feature files to provide the prompts, right? So I will leave it up to you as the assignment that how you can add all these prompts into a single file and can provide that particular file as the context and then perform the different calls, right? And let me know your results into the comment section, right? If you are able to do it or not do it, right? And if you get stuck at any place, you can just leave a comment into the comment section. I usually reply to all the comments, right? For now, I have not included any examples of put and patch call because I have tried performing put and patch call using ExecuteAutomation Playwright MCP Server, but I was not able to perform put and patch call successfully. I will also raise the issue for the same. If you want, you can try it at your end, and if you are successful, just let me know into the comment section below. In future, once this particular issue related to the put and patch call is resolved, I will definitely create one video for the same. And for now, here I have performed these basic calls, right, with the basic details. You can provide more details with your prompt. You can try to perform different API calls available into this document or for your project. There may be the case that in some cases, you would not be able to perform the specific API call using this Playwright MCP Server, as currently this thing is evolving, right? So there are some issues also, there are some bugs also. So that can prevent you from performing a specific API call, but you can try all these API calls. If you get stuck at any place, just let me know into the comment section below. If you are able to see any issues or bug for this particular Playwright MCP Server, we can raise the issue for this particular Playwright MCP Server. See here, under the issues, you can also see the current existing bugs which are there into this Playwright MCP Server. And one more thing I would like to add that For now, I have not performed any API authentication because I've tried to do the API authentication using this ExecuteAutomation's Playwright MCP server, but it was not performing authentication for the APIs. And the same you can try. If you are able to perform, just let me know into the comment section below. But in future, as soon as this particular functionality to authenticate API is available, I will surely create a video for the same. And now I will conclude this video. But before we wrap up, let me give you a quick recap. So here we saw that API stands for Application Programming Interface. We can perform CRUD operation using API HTTP methods. We also discussed that currently this official Playwright MCP server is not providing API testing functionality, but with the help of this ExecuteAutomation Playwright MCP server, we can perform the basic API testing. And here with the help of this fakerestapi.azurewebsite.net, we saw that we can perform different API calls into the Swagger document, and to perform same API calls, we can write the prompts like this, and through that we would be able to perform the API calls using the Playwright MCP server. See here we performed the get call to get all the details. Here again we performed the get call, but this time we have used this curl command. Then we performed the post call by providing this body here, and at the end we performed the delete call to delete the resource. For your reference purpose, I have provided all these prompts here into the document. You can try performing different API calls at your end and be creative with the prompts, right? Try to provide as much as details possible so that your action and response would be proper. And if you are finding this playlist helpful, give it a rating out of 5 and drop your suggestions in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it from my end. You can click onto this first card to go to the next video. You can click onto the second card to access the whole Playwright tutorial playlist, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. If you have any comments, questions or doubts, you can let me know into the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.